guys, welcome to another episode of Cricket Talkies. Today we have Coach and Karan with me joining us for the first time. Hi
Hey,
guys.
hey guys, how are you today?
Good. Today we'll be talking about an exciting matchup, CSK versus Delhi Capitals. So guys, what do you think? What are the odds? Let's get started. Coach?
Chennai having one win, one loss. Played really well against Mumbai, but not so much against Rajasthan with the higher scores. But I think against Delhi, they should have a pretty good chance. And same thing with Delhi coming off a win against Punjab. If they just work on the batting, get a little bit of a higher score. If they're batting first, or if chasing, just make sure they pace their innings well. I think both sides should really have equal chance.
Karan, what about you?
Yeah, I think the same. I agree with Kaush on that point. Chennai did have a really good start with the first match against Mumbai. They really played well, but I feel they are missing out on Suresh Raina. That I think that number three, number four slot is a big factor for them when it comes to batting. They need someone to pace the innings well, as it was seen against Rajasthan, where they weren't able to capitalize on the middle overs and they kept losing wickets. So I think on that perspective, if Delhi are able to capitalize on that part of Chennai's batting lineup, then I think it will be a tightly contested match. But yeah, I would always say that Chennai has an upper hand based on their past records that they have against Delhi. Chennai should have a win.
Okay. Considering that the game is going to be played in Dubai, what do you
Hmm.
think the winning team of the toss should choose to do first?
I personally feel, uh, based on the last couple of matches, teams batting first have had a good record. They won both the matches surprisingly. Bangalore and so did Delhi again in the super over against Punjab. But in Dubai, especially, the dew and the wicket does not start to overact in the second innings as in Sharjah or Abu Dhabi does. So it depends on the team and what they are comfortable doing. But I guess batting first or chasing first shouldn't be a big of difference for either teams.
Coach, what about you?
I think bowling first should be the good option because, as Karan said, I think the dew factor could play a role, and I think overall for Delhi specifically, they had a pretty close game against Punjab. I think chasing, knowing how to set their innings and knowing how to like balance in the middle overs with Shreyas and Rishabh Pant there to play a mature role. I think Delhi should be looking to chase, and I think we all know what Chennai can do when chasing. As long as their bowlers don't do a horrible job. So I think both sides have it in their best interest to chase.
Okay, and what do you think is a tough score to chase?
I think according to me, a par score would be anywhere above 160, 160 to 170. I think it's a par score over there. Anything above that is like a bonus for any team. But again, you never know with the batting lineup both the team has. If any of the opening batsmen get off to a flyer of a start, we might be looking at anywhere about 190, 200 as well. But I would say anything over 160, 170 is a par score at that on the ground.
Coach?
Yeah, I think somewhere around the 180, would be a good score to put up. And I think that gives the bowlers a good amount to go in and defend.
Okay, and both teams are 1-1 with one loss and one win. Can we see any major changes to the lineup? Who can we see? Who can we expect to see on the field? Coach Ponce.
Well, Delhi haven't really lost a game yet, so they don't
Oh,
really have a reason to make a change. I don't think personally. Just play with a little more maturity in the middle overs, I'd say. And Shreyas and Rishabh Pant did well last game, but Rishabh Pant got himself out a little too quickly. I think if they can continue that a little longer, and we all saw what Shreyas can do towards death overs. So if they can continue that and Shreyas can finish off, I think Delhi is really set to win against most oppositions.
Karan?
Yeah, I agree with Kaush's point that Delhi has a really good batting lineup in terms of their openers, their middle orders, and even the low down batsman Stein is coming in and in the death overs. Rishabh Pant, he's been getting a lot of flack recently because of his scores and everything, but I feel he has a lot of potential and a lot of capabilities to push Delhi past the playoffs, at least for this IPL, I would say. But overall, even for Chennai, in that matter, they have a really solid opening pair, middle order. They have Faf du Plessis, who played a really good innings last match against Rajasthan as well. I would like to see Rituraj Gaikwad get another match. I thought he was a bit too hesitant and a bit too overexcited to play his first match in the IPL, and he got out in that in that sense. But I would really like to see him get another go and see how he performs.
Okay, let's talk leadership. We have the experienced MS Dhoni on one hand and the relatively new Shreyas Iyer. So, who do you think has an advantage here between the two leadership styles?
I personally feel that Dhoni, because of his past experiences, he always has an upper hand against, in terms of any oppositions. For that matter, he knows his squad in and out. He knows every single player, what their strengths are, what their weaknesses are. Chennai squad, since the last past 3 or 4 seasons, has remained predominantly the same. They have had a couple of tweaks in terms of acquisition of players, but the overall team has been the same since the last couple of years. Delhi has had a few acquisitions this time around in the auction, which can impact them in a major way. But it'll be really interesting to see how experience versus youth. It's essentially the experience of CSK versus the youth of Delhi going against each other. So it'd be a really interesting matchup to see how it pans out.
Okay, Coach? Do you
Yeah, as Karan said, Dhoni, he basically has every situation planned out in his mind. He knows what situations his players are best in, and he knows which situations he should bring his players in, which players can do that, which players cannot. And there's a reason why no one else can really captain like Dhoni. He's really always cool. He knows what he's doing, and you can't really compare anyone else to him. I wouldn't say. I think Shreyas Iyer is definitely, he's not a bad captain. Obviously, he took Delhi to their first playoff in about 7 years almost. But and I think if backed by Ricky Ponting and that entire squad for Delhi, Shreyas Iyer can really do a lot. But I think you can compare him to someone like MS. I think MS is just at his own level. He knows his team in and out, like Karan said. Well, Shreyas Iyer, again, like Karan said, it's a big match of youth versus experience, and a very youthful player, and Delhi have a more youthful side. So it's going to be interesting to see how Shreyas Iyer can really lead his player of youth. But I think overall, I think in terms of leadership, Dhoni definitely has the upper hand.
Okay, so now finally, let's discuss the key players of each team. Coach, who do you think will be the match winner for DC?
For DC, I think we're looking at Shreyas Iyer, mainly because the middle overs is where Delhi maybe struggle a little bit if they lose a couple of early wickets. We know it's Shreyas and they have a couple other players towards the end to finish off. And if Rishabh Pant gets going, he can also hit towards the end. But the middle overs is really the position where they need to really focus. As long as they keep the middle overs going, if they get maybe a boundary over in the middle, keep the run rate at 8 and over, from there they can really get that explosive finish they need. So for Delhi Capitals, if Shreyas Iyer can play that constant role of just supporting the batsman on the other end and just getting those boundaries, I think Delhi can really get themselves in a good position. And as far as Chennai go, I think Fab du Plessis is going to be that key player, because we've seen the first game he scored a 60, second game he scored 50. He seems to be in good form. And I think for the same reason, even if wickets fall at the top, he's there at the middle overs to play that kind of anchor role, supporting the team, making sure that they have one wicket just there. And so I think if Fab du Plessis can play that role, he could really be the MVP for Chennai. So I think whoever plays that role for each team is going to be the most valuable player for them.
Okay, what about you, Karan? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Kosh as well. I believe Duplessis and Watson as well are one of the key players to watch out for Chennai, because not only for the reason they have so much experience and they know what they're expecting, and if the grounds being so not full sized and being so small, they shouldn't have, with their power hitting and what they bring to the game in the opening initial overs, does affect a lot of does and keeps the morale going of the whole squad, sets a tone for what they're supposed to be doing, especially with Shane Watson. If he gets a quick fire 50 or a quick fire 40 in like 20-30 balls, that really sets the tone for Chennai to build on that momentum and to go on to get a really big total. And for Delhi as well, Delhi, as Kosh said, Shreyas Iyer will play an important role as he's coming in the middle overs, and he needs to dominate those areas. They did really well last match as well against Kings 11, where they played really well in that middle overs. I would also include Rishabh Pant in players to watch out for. As I said, he's been getting a lot of flack for the last couple of seasons with his batting and with his technique in wicket keeping, but he really has the ability to be the game changer if he bats for a good 6 to 7 overs. So I'd say these two would be the players for me to watch out for the next game.
Okay, Karan, Coach, thank you so much for joining me. That was our pre-game analysis of what's set to be an exciting matchup between CSK and DC. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as we continue our coverage of Dream 11 IPL 2020.